Professor of Law, but over the past few years I've been working for the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. And as you know, the UNECA, or the ECA we call it, is a strategic partner of the APRM. And in fact, because of that strategic partnership, I was given the opportunity to work for the APRM Secretariat from here, the APRM headquarters in Wits for over 2.5 years, during which we did a lot of useful things, and I loved the experience. I enjoyed the time, and I became part of the APRM family. The fact that we have the APRM as an initiative is a great thing for the continent. We have to remain grateful to our leaders who came up with this very innovative and brilliant idea. It is the APRM is a unique institution, a unique initiative throughout the world. So that making APRM stronger is certainly one way of making sure that good governance remains at the heart of the discourse in the continent. And I think it is possible to say, with a bit of reductionism, that almost every problem that we have in the continent has a governance dimension, if not a manifestation of the governance formula itself. So I think this is an area that we have to focus on for a very long time. It requires our sustained, systematic engagement at all levels in terms of academic research, training of our students who are going to be the future leaders, in terms of teaching our civil servants, our governments, the concept of accountability regardless of what kind of position of authority they occupy. Nobody is entitled to be in government. Nobody is entitled to be in public service. People should know that whenever they are in the public service, they are there to be just that, servants of the public. That the mandate is defined by law, and when the law defines the mandate of a particular institution or office, it doesn't just set the expectations, it also sets the limits of that mandate. When that limit is exceeded, when the powers given to them are exercised arbitrarily or for personal, family, or other benefits, then that is when we have to show that there is a system that will hold them accountable. There is a system that will discourage that from happening again. There is a system that can set a precedent so that their successors are not going to fall back to repeat that same mistake, that same problem when they come to the office. So I think it's going to be an all-round, sustained process in order to keep governance at the top of the agenda. From the political will, which we have, thanks to the APRM, but we have to keep it going. And then it has to go all the way down to the day-to-day administration in each of our countries. And it's not just about the government, it's also about the citizens. It's also about the civil society organizations, it's also about the media, it's also about the corporate world, the businessman and the businesswoman out there on the street. And of course, ultimately, as I said earlier, it has to be underpinned by tailored, context-specific research by our own academic institutions. The first thing to say, I think, is to recognize that there is a place for all of us. It requires the attention of all of us, academics, practitioners, however broadly defined the word practitioners there. It requires all of us because the academics, as I was saying earlier, they have to do original research. They have to understand, they have to help us understand why we set certain goals in terms of governance, and we often fall short when it comes to the implementation of those policies or to achieve those goals, for example. So we need that context-specific research. We need that empirically grounded work, research work, so that we can adjust our own policies, we can modify our own approaches, so that we can learn from the academic research and take it into the practical world as practitioners. That relationship has to be tightened, it has to be strengthened, because unfortunately, it's not unique to Africa, but unfortunately, we tend to, as academics, we tend to only conduct research for the sake of research. And we focus on publishing brilliant ideas, which often is taken as an end in itself. It can be, but in the area of governance in particular, we also need to solve problems that affect the day-to-day lives of our people. We're not talking about governance for governance's sake. We talk about governance because its implications, the fact that we get governance wrong, is affecting the daily lives and the life opportunities of our citizens. So if we're going to get it right, we have to make sure that, one, the researchers are actually engaged in policy-oriented research that's geared towards resolving real problems. And second, academics researching alone is not enough. We need to have a public service, a civil service, practitioners who are ready, willing, and able to make use of that research in their day-to-day engagement in governance. So there is that relationship, two-way relationship between the two. So I think that is the first thing to say. And the second thing is, as I was saying earlier, we need institutions. The problem we have very often, we come up with new laws, new treaties, new standards. We go through the typical standard processes of diplomatic event, fanfare to get them approved, adopted, etc. And when it comes to actual implementation of those standards, those treaties, at the national level, that's where we fall short. So how do we build institutions? How do we make sure that an idea, a good idea, that came up today in a particular office, in a particular agency in government, is not going to die when that person moves out of it? How do we institutionalize it? How do we make sure that whoever takes that position tomorrow is going to pick it up from there and run with it, rather than the start and stop kind of process that changes every time a person changes, for example. So there is a lot of room for, I think, for original, bold thinking on the parts of all the practitioners and the academics.